Hello there and welcome back. My name is Elena.
And I am Photios, and this is the Game Court.
And today is a review day.
And today we're reviewing for you Manhattan Project War Machine.
I thought it's only called War Machine. Oh, Manhattan Project.
That's the full title.
Ah, okay, fine. War Machine.
So Manhattan Project, the War Machine, is a 1 to 4 player game designed by Gonzalez and published by Grail Games.
In this game, as it's already entailed on the cover, War Machine, you are trying to grow and develop a nation to become the largest military power in the world. It sounds quite schmancy, doesn't it?
Yes. Let's do it!
Feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, but in reality, the game is all about resource management.
Yes, it has no war in it.
War Machine plays from 4 to 6 rounds, depending on the player count. For 2 players is 6 rounds, for 4 players is only 4 rounds. And in this game, you have different workers, which is basically dice. And you roll the workers, and then you can re-roll the workers up to twice, but you have to keep at least 1 worker back every time. And after you have your workers, you can assign your workers on the main board.
After you have rolled your dice and you have placed them on the main board and you finish with all the exchanges that you want to do and all the purchases you want to purchase, you will then be taking these dice and you can assign them onto your personal board. There are 3 different buildings that you could build: industrial, commercial, and government. And next to these rows of buildings, so you can build more than 1 building, you can assign your dice, and whether or not the buildings that you have there activate with 1 dice or a pair of dice or some sort of combination of some sort, this way is the only way you will activate these buildings that you have purchased already and get the benefit.
And as you have 3 rows in your personal board to activate your structures, the same way you have 3 different areas in the main board, and each area is associated with a different type of worker. You have the commercial workers with top hats going to the commercial section of the board, or the star represents the government actions, or the wrench represents the industrial actions. And the dice have these 3 different phases, but they may also have a nuclear phase, which is a wild. Also, they have the energy phase, which is a secondary action, let's say.
And talking about secondary actions, you can use your main symbols to do the main action. You have up to 3 spaces or 4 spaces?
3 spaces.
3 spaces that you have on every single section. And you can use them either as a main action or you can use them as a secondary action. So if you place your main symbol, let's say a top hat, the action is divided in 2. You can select one of the actions from the main action section and you can do it yourself. Plus, if you do select that, then your opponent will be able to select a secondary action from the secondary action section. Too many S words, I think I'm going to get babbered. And that's another perk for them. So let's say as a top hat action, you can take 2 money. And then your opponent as a secondary action, without placing any dice, will take 1 coin. So the equivalent of a first action, the secondary action will be less powerful.
And once you have placed at least 1 main die in each section of the board, you can then place another main die or a secondary die, and in which case, exactly, which is the energy thingy. And in this case,
lightning, you mean?
Right, the lightning.
Yes. I can remember the name.
And in this case, you don't activate the main benefit, but you activate the secondary benefit, but at least your opponents don't follow you, so they don't take any benefits. So you take a lesser benefit, but your opponents get nothing. And as you start the game, you have 3 dice, but you may take several actions in the game to basically add more dice. This is, by the way, is called upgrading your cargo section of the board, but you can also upgrade other sections of your board that allows you to place even more structure tiles on, like government tiles or industry tiles that Elena discussed about before, or even upgrade your warehouse. You can store more of the resources of the game.
As main resources, the game offers you money, because money is money and war. Also, the game offers you food, steel, and victory points, although I don't think you eat any of them.
No, you don't eat any of them.
You don't eat the food.
And the basic use of the resources, I would say, is to build the structures. There are other use for the resources, but this is the basic use, to build the structures.
And most of the actions in all sections, to be honest, are about conversion. You can convert either, money to food, or you have a combination of stuff like that. And most sections will offer you some sort of conversion at some point in some of the actions, because every main action and every secondary action will have a lot of separate actions that you can do. You can only choose one of them, but they have multiple actions there where you can choose from.
Yeah, or spend money to get another dice, or spend steel and food to upgrade another section of your board. But it's about this conversion of...
Yeah.
Now, as we said, there's a wild face in the die in the game, which is the nuclear symbol. And, you may say, okay, this is quite cool. If you get the nuclear symbol, then you can do everything. But if you end up with having the nuclear symbol, then you get the pollution marker, a pollution token, which is -1 victory point for the end of the game. And there is an option to, let's say, recycle, to use the recycle action to make it +1 victory point, but then you have to spend an action to do that.
Yeah, and resources and stuff like that. It's not cheap.
Exactly.
Plus, the game is trying to mitigate all this bad juju and the negativity by giving you a personalized card at the beginning where you can get your own extra action or some different perk. And you can use, if you obviously have this, I think all of them are activated by the
nuclear die. Yes.
So you have to play it, you get a -1, but then you can play your own personalized action. And at the beginning, everybody starts with a goal of some sort that you can or cannot do.
Now, when it comes to art and theme, well, let me start with theme. I don't think the theme is strong. Anyway, I mean,
I have no idea why it's a war machine, apart from exchanging, resources and buying buildings that might do something. Most of them give you resources or exchange of resources.
But I do like the resource conversion aspect. I do enjoy this very much, I have to say, but the theme doesn't come out, at least for me. However, the art, oh my god, the art is amazing. I think it's one of the most beautiful games we all have in our collection right now.
I think we have to mention that art is subjective, and I think it's a cool game and it looks very cool. I mean, look at the cover. But it's therefore not the best looking game we have in our collection.
It's not the best, but it's among the best. We have some very good looking games.
It's some cool industrial style kind of art rather than,
Yeah, is this Art Deco style, would I say?
Yeah, and it's definitely not Art Deco. I don't know what it's called, but it's very pretty though, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we're not the artists, specialists here, whatever.
I can say cool or nice.
Yes.
Plus, inside is all made very nicely. Most of it has double layered boards, and the dice are
very chunky, right?
They're so chunky and big, and you just want to roll them in your hands and just even if you don't, you just roll them one more time because they're so nice. This tactile feeling is very nice. You have little wooden pieces for everything around. Everything is extra super duper overproduced kind of. It feels very luxurious, and the box is very small for what it is.
It is very small, yes. But because you mentioned production, I have to say something about production as well. There are a couple of production issues when it comes to the game. A couple of things have been printed wrongly on the player boards.
Yes.
And also there are some corrections made from the publisher when it comes to the rule book of the game. So there are some production issues there that could have been ironed out. But otherwise, I think production of the game is fantastic.
Yeah, they've really splurged on that.
As we already mentioned, the game plays from 1 to 4. And I think it plays in a very reasonable amount of time, about 6 to 75 minutes. Even in higher player count, I think the game plays quite fast, and it's quite enjoyable as it builds.
Not to mention that this is one of these games where you start quite slow at the beginning, and it kind of it kind of takes you a while to get resources and start buying stuff, and then out of the blue, bang! It just explodes, and then you have way too many of everything, and then you don't have enough space to put them. So preemptively, you will have to think of upgrading stuff sooner rather than later, because when it explodes, it just explodes, and then you lose so many things when you can just have them there.
And before we go to our yes and nays, we should mention that we shouldn't mention the beginning of the video anyway, but we should mention now that this is a review copy sent to us by the publisher.
How did we not say that so
I know,
far?
right?
Yeah, thank you very much for the copy.
So what is your first yay?
So what is your first yay?
I start now?
You start now.
Okay, I start. Okay. So my first yay is about the game that I really like, is the balance that you have when it comes to rolling the die, and this push your luck element. But for me, it's about the balance that you want to have the primary symbols to take the more powerful actions in the first phase of the game, but equally the flashlights, the less powerful symbols of the dice will give you more flexibility in the second phase of the game, which is about activating your structures. So I like this balance, because if you have a lot of primary symbols, you also give a lot of jujus to your good jujus to your opponents, a lot of follow for your opponents. Whereas if you have the flashlights, you don't give them anything, and you have more flexibility afterwards. So having this balance right for me is very important and a very good aspect of the game.
I think my first EA is going to be around this aspect of you do a main action and then your opponents will do a bit like Aris Expedition.
Oh, the follow mechanic.
The follow mechanic, which I really like. I don't think there's any negativity in this game, and it all flows very well, and it's quite friendly and it's quite peaceful, which I really like.
And about follow mechanic, you're correct in that. It has this positive interaction about the game. And it's not like, if you choose a particular row, I have to do that action. Whatever you choose from that column, I can choose whatever I want from the other column, which is very nice. It gives a lot of flexibility there. Another EA from my perspective is the art of the game is, at least for my eye, very pleasant. And I really appreciate what the designer, the artist, what's his name? Heiko Günther has done with this game. I think it looks fantastic, both cover and on the table, and how they have presented the tiles, the player board, the upgrades, the extensions, all of this. I think it looks fantastic.
My first nay, and I'm not sure how we got so fast to this, but that's that. My first nay is about the board. And the board is quite big, and it has actions on 3 sides of them are actions, but it's more like a circle and is divided in 6 sections. 3 of them are actions, a bit like pizza slices, and 3 of them are, one is for action, so for actions, for how many actions you have left.
How many rounds you have left?
How many rounds you have left, sorry, not actions. And the other 2 are nothing.
And this is an A.
Yeah, it's an A. I don't know why the board is so big for... Like, why do you have so much empty space? Like, there's not even that much art in there or nothing. It's literally just a triangle that there's nothing. And I didn't know, I thought that when we kind of like put resources in there, like, you take them from there. But it doesn't really say that you could use it for anything. And I don't know why it has so much empty space. And you could put like people like, it's always about the space, and it's so hard to, cram so many things in it. And I don't know, I don't like this, like, let's just like make a box as big and a board as big when you can make it smaller.
Yeah, I'm not particularly in agreement with you here, to be honest with you.
I don't think the game is particularly big. Like the box,
exactly.
The box is quite little when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But it could be even smaller.
And the game board overall is not the biggest game board. Like, you have something like, Weather Machine, which is massive.
Yeah, but technically half of it is empty.
Yeah, half is empty, but also, if you play with 4 players, at least, you have the tracks around the board, so you don't have, let's say, one side of the board, and then you have do I put the correct side towards me or towards, the other 2 players across the table, sort of. So you have these 3 sections, and you have this circularity. So I think it works, from my opinion, but yeah, I mean, it's your name.
Well, it was my nay, there you go.
Yes.
Luckily, it was not your way. Whew,
I know, right?
We finished that.
One nay from my side is that even if I feel the satisfaction of building my engine, I would like the game to be slightly longer, maybe around longer. And this is something that we could even house rule, I would say, like play another extra round. Because, it seems to me whenever you basically made your engine strong, then the game ends abruptly and you cannot utilize your full engine power, in a good manner. So, again, maybe if we have one more round in the game, maybe that will solve it. But if you go by the game rules, I think it's a bit short.
Maybe a bit short.
Yeah.
An A for me is the theme, not because I have something against war.
And because there's no theme.
But I feel that the theme, like, it sounds so super awesome, like War Machine. And then you're like, yeah, let's do it. And then it's literally just resource management, which is not, I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it works, and the way you make it works. But it has nothing about war, and you're just building some buildings that have nothing to do with war, and there is nothing about war in it. It's just resource management, and you buy some buildings.
I think I agree with that. I really like the resource management. Yeah, you see, I approval. Now, I really agree with. I really like the resource management games, as you may know, like Furnace and stuff like that.
And like Concordia.
Yeah, exactly. But here, it's not really a war machine. It's like take 2 steel, spend 3 food, spend 3 coins,
buy
do that.
Building,
Exactly.
That's it.
This is not really building a war. We don't building any weapons. There is some art there in the machinery, like we would take the extra dice and stuff. But by no means you are building a super weapon or whatever. Overall, this is a very enjoyable game, It has a nice combination of worker placement with a bit push your luck. And also the worker placement has two elements. You place your workers in the main board and then you place them again to activate your structures. It plays nice and smoothly and we quite enjoyed it.
If you like this game very much, or it sounds very interesting to you and you want to try something else, or you've already tried it, my game recommendation would be Concordia.
Concordia?
Concordia.
How come?
Concordia is a game where you exchange, there's a market and there's quite a prominent element of the market where you exchange a lot of resources. You can exchange them for money that you can buy buildings with.
Yes, okay.
So it's a lot of like resource gathering and you exchange a lot of resources in the market, either for other resources or you can just exchange them for money. You have the building aspect over there. Their buildings don't do anything, but you do something with the money. You build something with all of those. Plus you travel a lot in there, which is quite cool.
My game recommendation has nothing to do with worker placement or push your luck. It has to do with the follow mechanic of the Manhattan Project, the War Machine. And my game recommendation is Boon Lake, which has also a follow mechanic where you choose your action tile, you do the main action, then everybody else, including yourself, there's a secondary action that everybody takes, and then this tile becomes a bit more expensive if somebody else wants to take it. But yeah, we have seen the follow mechanic in other games, but my selection is Boon Lake.
Righty, that was it for today.
That was a review of Manhattan Project, the War Machine.
I hope you enjoyed it.
And thank you so much for watching.
See you later.
Bye.